boys and girls. Happy Thursday. Today is our last day before winter break. So to celebrate our very last day of reading before break, we are going to listen to the Polar Express. I love to see you in your cozy jammies. Today's going to be more of a fun lesson. All right, the Polar Express, written and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg. The only thing you will need today is your turn and talk partner. Let's be sure we're ready. You're in a quiet spot, you have a good attitude, you listen to the whole video, you try your hardest, and you keep your materials in one spot. Let's read today's objective. I'll go first, then you say after me. I can sequence the story, The Polar Express, by dragging pictures in order. Good. That's our kindergarten reading literature standard 2.2. And today we will really be focusing on listening. Can you show me your listening ears? Great job. You must listen to the story to be able to sequence it in order. Let's build some background. Find your turn and talk partner. We have some pictures here. We have Elfie from Elf on the Shelf, Rudolph, and Santa Claus. Turn and tell your neighbor what you know about any of these pictures. Do you know anything about these pictures? I know that the elf is watching us. He's from the North Pole, and every night he goes back to report to Santa. Good. Very good. Give me 5. These are all different symbols of the winter. And today we're going to read a winter story. Let's warm up. Turn and tell your neighbor, so find your turn and talk partner. Where would you like to go to the North Pole? Do you want to go to the North Pole where Santa lives? Why or why not? Okay, I'm going to listen to you. Turn and tell your neighbor. Do you want to go to the North Pole? Very good. Give me 5. I heard Rain say she wants to go to the North Pole to meet Mrs. Claus. What do you think you would see at the North Pole? What might you see there? What do you see, elves? What do you see, presents being made? What do you see, Santa? Okay, now turn and tell your neighbor, what do you think you would hear at the North Pole? What would you hear? You would hear Santa's laugh? You would hear elves working? Great. Give me 5, boys and girls. Remember, our objective is to sequence the story in order. So you'll have to listen the whole time so you can do that. Okay, we have done sequencing before or retelling even just 2 weeks ago. We practiced retelling the story of Jack and the Giant with a trains. Remember, say beginning, middle, and end. We retold this story by putting the pictures in order and then using our words to say what happened. Okay, this story is kind of long, so if you want a snack or a drink, you can go get it right now before I play it. I'm even going to have a seat here with you. So if you're standing, make sure you sit down, get a snack. We're going to listen to this story, and then we will sequence it in order.
The Polar Express, written and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly on my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear, the ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. The conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. All aboard! The conductor cried out. I ran up to him. Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. Why, to the North Pole, of course, was his answer. This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand, and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests, where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole." The North Pole. It was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. "They are gathering at the center of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." "Look!" shouted one of the children. "The elves!" Outside, we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped. And the conductor led us outside. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into a sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, "The first gift of Christmas." A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark, polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood in my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Merry Christmas, he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell. But as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe.
Wow, that was a great story, wasn't it? Now we are going to review our objective. Remember, our objective was to sequence the story in order by dragging pictures to retell the story. And you had to listen to that entire story to sequence it in the correct order. Okay, let's look at our success criteria, or how we know we learned this. First, you can sequence the pictures in order. So you will have 6 pictures here at the bottom. Let me turn the lights up, friends. Okay, you will sequence these pictures in order. I'll go first. Let's make this a little smaller. Okay, so first I have to look at all the pictures to identify what is going on. In this picture, I see that the boy lost the bell. Here I see the boy saw a train out his window. They stopped at the North Pole. He found a box under his tree. The kids sang and had hot cocoa, or the boy got the first gift from Santa. Remember, number 1 is what happened in the beginning of the story. So I'm going to think, which of these pictures happened first? Well, he didn't lose his bell at the beginning. He didn't find a box under the tree at the beginning. He didn't drink and sing songs and drink hot cocoa. He didn't stop at the North Pole at the very beginning. And he didn't get a gift from Santa at the beginning, which leaves me with one choice. The boy saw a train out his window. So I'm going to take this picture and move it to number 1. Okay, now let's think about what happened next for number 2. So he sees a train outside his window. What happened next? Did he lose a bell? Did he find a box under his tree? Did he stop at the North Pole? Did he get a gift from Santa? Turn and tell your neighbor, which one do you think happened next? Could he lose the bell before he stops at the North Pole? Does that make sense? No. That's right. First, they drank hot cocoa and sang songs. Then, they stopped at the North Pole. Does that make sense? If you don't know, you'll have to go back and watch the video. We can skip ahead to find out what happened after he's on the train.
The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars.
So after he sees the train outside his window, we were right. The kids sang and had hot cocoa, and then they stopped at the North Pole. Good job, boys and girls. Now think what happens after they stop at the North Pole. Did he lose his bell? Did he find a box under the tree? Or did the boy get the first gift from Santa? Turn and tell your neighbor which one happens next. Okay, I will put the first 3 pictures in order. First, the boy sees the train out his window. Next, they drink hot cocoa and sing songs. Then they stop at the North Pole. These 3 pictures are left to be put into the correct order. 4, 5, and 6 need your help. You're going to put these pictures in order that makes sense. Remember, you can always go back and check the video to see if you were correct. I'm going to send this slide to you. You'll use your finger to move the pictures and then click submit so Miss Murphy can see if you could sequence the story. Let's review our objective. Remember, today's objective was to sequence the story in order. Say beginning, middle, and end. Together, we sequence the beginning and part of the middle. You have to finish the last 3 pictures. If you were able to sequence the pictures, show me a thumbs, 1 finger. If you need some more help, show me 2 fingers. If you were really lost, show me 3 fingers. Good. Okay. How do you feel about being able to sequence those pictures? See a lot of thumbs up. How does being able to sequence pictures help us as readers? Turn and tell your talking partner. How does that help you become a good reader by sequencing pictures in order? When I sequence pictures in order, I can retell a story. That's what good readers do. Did you hear Pup? He said good readers can retell a story, saying the beginning, the middle, and the end. Okay, boys and girls, this is the end of your reading lesson, your last one before winter break. Remember to finish this slide, putting these pictures in order and submitting it to me. Then you'll do math, and then you'll be all done with your learning until we come back to school. Bye, boys and girls. Have a great winter break, and I hope to see you later today to come pick up your cup of hot cocoa. Bye. See you next time.